Hollywood is no stranger to last-minute glamour fixes and impromptu wardrobe miracles. But this Halloween, it was something a little more meta. When 16-year-old Iain Armitage, best known as the precocious titular character on Young Sheldon, found himself costume-less just hours before a star-studded Halloween bash, he did what any self-aware TV star might do in a moment of creative desperation. He went as Young Sheldon. Yes, you read that right. The moment was captured in a now viral Instagram post, where Iain is seen sporting a plaid button-down shirt, beige khakis, and a backpack, the uniform of Sheldon Cooper, the young Texan genius with a disdain for social norms and a love for theoretical physics. The caption? A simple, self-deprecating. When you're out of ideas and literally have your character's wardrobe in your closet. But what started as a humorous quick fix turned into a surprisingly layered moment of self-reflection and subtle satire, giving fans and followers alike a charming glimpse into the uniquely surreal world of growing up on television. A costume born of chaos. According to sources close to the Young Sheldon star, the costume wasn't part of a clever publicity stunt or planned ahead of time. Instead, it was the result of a classic teenage oversight. He'd been so busy with schoolwork, rehearsals, and voiceover projects that Halloween totally snuck up on him, says a family friend. By the time he realized he needed something to wear, the local costume shops had been picked clean. Faced with a wall of generic vampire teeth, dog-eared pirate hats, and questionable clown wigs, Armitage had a thought. Why not lean into the absurdity? I have 4 identical pairs of khakis and a dozen plaid shirts because of the show, Armitage later joked during an appearance on The Late Late Show. So technically, I could dress as Young Sheldon every day of the week without repeating an outfit. I figured, if you can't beat the costume aisle, be the costume. When art imitates life, and then loops back, what made Iain's costume more than just a funny moment was the layers of irony baked into it. After all, it's not every day that a TV actor dresses up as his own character. A character who is himself a fictionalized version of another actor's character, Jim Parsons' adult Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Fans on social media were quick to pick up on this recursive genius. Is this cosplay, satire, performance art? One fan tweeted, Iain going as Young Sheldon while being Young Sheldon, who is young Jim Parsons, who is playing an older version of Iain's character. My brain just collapsed like a dying star. Another user summed it up more succinctly. This is peak meta. Charlie Kaufman would be proud. A wink to the fans. Despite the time crunch, Iain didn't just throw on an outfit and call it a night. Ever the performer, he leaned into the character, showing up to the party quoting Newton's laws and correcting people's grammar. According to fellow attendees, he even carried around a copy of A Brief History of Time tucked under his arm and repeatedly asked guests if they believed string theory deserved more mainstream attention. He was fully committed, laughed a fellow partygoer. I asked him if he wanted punch, and he responded, no, thank you. I don't consume sugary beverages after 6 p.m. due to their effect on circadian rhythms. It was hilarious and slightly terrifying. The effort didn't go unnoticed. Armitage won Most Ironic Costume at the party, a title he accepted with a mock-serious nod and a perfectly timed, Sheldon-esque, bazinga. A reflection on growing up on screen. Beyond the jokes and meta-humor, there was a quiet poignancy to Iain's costume choice. He's been playing Sheldon Cooper since he was 9 years old, nearly half his life. For fans, the character may be a fixture on their weekly TV lineup, but for Armitage, Sheldon is a stitched-in part of his teenage identity. I think dressing up as Young Sheldon was kind of Iain's way of playfully reclaiming the character, said his mom, Lee Armitage. He's proud of the role, of course, but he's also at that age where he's figuring out who he is, outside of the bow ties and science jargon. As Young Sheldon enters its final season, Armitage has been candid in interviews about the bittersweetness of leaving the role behind. Dressing up as Sheldon for Halloween, even in jest, felt like a way of saying goodbye on his own terms, with humor, heart, and a dash of calculated nerdiness. Fans react. The internet, of course, ate it up. TikToks parodying Iain's meta costume racked up millions of views. Fan art flooded Reddit and Tumblr, including a sketch of young Iain dressed as Young Sheldon dressed as adult Sheldon. One enterprising fan even dressed as Iain dressed as Young Sheldon, adding a "Hi, I'm actually the actor who plays the guy who plays this guy" name tag for effect. Even Jim Parsons weighed in, reposting Iain's costume photo with the caption, "When your Halloween doppelganger is technically your past self. Happy spooky season from multiple dimensions of Sheldon." Final thoughts. In an era where Halloween costumes often chase shock value or obscure pop culture references, Iain Armitage reminded us that sometimes the smartest costume is the simplest, especially when it plays with identity, time, and television in one glorious package. Was it lazy? Maybe. Was it brilliant? Undeniably. And as far as we're concerned, anyone who can quote quantum mechanics and make fun of themselves in a single breath has earned their Halloween candy, and then some.